an approach to them because of their fields. And they don't have to necessarily sponsor the tournament, but what happens is the money earned goes to that organization, would be Morrisville. A lot of them are like, they'll have the fields now. Some of the things I do are on other parks, and whoever runs the tournament is responsible for all the clean everything, and they pay like X amount of dollars per team, and that covers their own umpires and all the rest, and then the profit goes to that organization.
So visiting teams will have to pay a fee to the borough, to Morrisville Little League for playing on that field.
There will be a entrance fee. It might be 200, I don't know, depending, but that's the normal with a lot of these different areas. But since the field of Morrisville Little League, or Morrisville should run it and maintain it, and pay everything, and then they get the entrance money, the profit goes to them.
So they're like the middleman.
Right.
With it, right?
Right.
And they accept the fee for doing that for them and have them there, put on our fields. So they're renting out our fields to people in the tournaments
So we should
outside.
keep the tournament fee in there.
Leave it as is, we'll talk to the league about it, see exactly what we're dealing with. Because we're not gonna have tournaments until the end of the season, it's not
Right.
like it's an immediate concern. But
Well,
I'd like to
this-
see what,
This motion here is,
to change the first half of it. We're not,
okay.
and as Mr. Kilkenny said, we can waive any fee we want.
Okay. All right. So the motion was to accept the mutual agreement between Morrisville Borough Council and Morrisville Baseball for use of the fields in 2015 for the fee of $10,000. Is that about right?
I will say that probably sounds like you don't think the tournaments are included. Yeah, regular season, yeah. It is separate season, right?
Yeah, because this
So
use
that,
of the field.
that is how they're gonna take that.
I think I'd like the amendment because this use of the field for anything, anywhere, anytime.
Right,
I
right.
really think it should be for
For their season.
for Morrisville
For
Baseball.
regular season.
Regular season.
Regular season.
So let's write regular instead of, I'm sorry, I don't want to make the changes for anybody. So it would be for the use of the field for their regular season, is that what we're
Yeah,
including?
2015.
Okay. We have Fred and Corinne. Any more questions or comments by the audience? Anyone from the audience would like to speak on this, please? Come forward. Okay. All right. Roll call, please. Oh, sorry.
I think we're just adding it.
We're adding it.
We're not there
Wait a
yet.
second. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I'm absolutely glad that the council's moving forward with this, only for the fact that I really felt it was unfair to baseball to surprise them with this kind of fee. And if they're willing and they're okay with the $10,000, I think that's great because my concern from day one was to surprise them with a bill like this was really gonna hurt the league. And I think Marshall Little League's a great thing for our community, so I'm glad to see it, so.
Thank you. And it took a couple meetings and some negotiation. All right, roll call, please.
Oh,
Yes.
wait,
Where are you voting on this?
we just added that to the agenda, didn't we?
Seconded.
Right.
So confused.
We made a
Sorry.
motion to it.
Yes. Well, we weren't ready to do it. Well, we're not ready. Go ahead. How about the rest of the meeting? Just go right ahead. Doesn't matter if it's out of order.
Yes.
Mr. Parker. He's being dialed in.
He's gone.
Fred, you there?
Okay. Oh, he is there. I thought I shut him off. Are you voting on this? Okay, thanks, Ted.
Okay. Mr. Sanford? Yes. Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Kerner?
Yes.
Ms. Sherlock?
Yes. That's it, right? The motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
That was 10 each. That was 10 each, rain day was 10.
Right.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sherlock. And you asked me to address some of Mr. Farrell's concerns in relation to auditor. Those apply to elected auditors and how they are compensated if they are to do a job under the borough code. The municipality, the borough of Morrisville, needs to comply with federal and state reporting requirements. It's our understanding that the controller and the reports that he has put forward do not comply with those. So the borough, in its budget, provided for the engagement of an outside auditor, a CPA firm, that can make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. And there is nothing in the borough code that precludes a borough from doing that. In fact, most boroughs do. Other than that, I do not have anything in my report.
Thank you. The engineer's report, you received a copy of the engineer's report. Next we have the mayor's report.
Thank you. I've already shared with what I feel is big news regarding the CFA Greenways Trails Recreation Grant with the council, and I want to make sure our residents are aware that while working with the Morrisville BAC, the DCNR, the DCED, we have identified this grant as one that can be used to cover or help cover demolition costs for MR riders. I believe everyone knows, even with the county open space money, there's a big issue, meaning the existing school building. This grant can cover up to $250,000, requiring a 15% match from the borough. The grant deadline is June 30th, so I do encourage council to move on this. And quite frankly, I didn't have this in my report, but I am concerned with having the new committee announced tonight that once that negotiations are started, that something gets moved forward with this grant so we don't waste time and lose our opportunity. Also, the police department has started using the Nixle system to send out information to residents via text, message, or email. This is another first for our department. It does not cost the police department anything to be part of the system, and I'm requesting that the information has signed up to be put on the borough's cable access channel, and I think George may address this system a little bit more later. I will be receiving help this year for the Labor Day picnic in regards to the car cruise. The Delaware Valley Road Runners Car Club is helping. They have requested, that's why I mentioned earlier, having a rain date for the cruise if the picnic is rained out. So they feel putting all this together, having everyone get their cars ready, they would still like to have the car cruise even if the Labor Day picnic itself gets canceled. Also on April 11th, the third graders from Holy Trinity paid us a visit here again this year at Borough Hall. The students toured Borough Hall from the police department, and including the dais, I had them up here, they were making very nice motions such as no homework and more ice cream and wonderful stuff. But we had a great day. I want to thank everyone who helped welcome the children. And Chief McClay, he's in the back, he was great with the kids this year. Also, as you heard earlier, probably several times now, we had a couple borough cleanups over the past few weekends. The EAC did host the annual riverfront cleanup. I would say it was very successful. The annual canal cleanup was led by Ron Shees. Ronnie's been doing this cleanup for decades. The Boy Scouts came out, as well as a couple dozen members of Local 269, as they always do. So a big thank you to everyone who helped with all the cleanups. And lastly, I wanted to mention that Hal Wilcox reached out to me, and I sent council a letter. It was regarding the fee schedule, because the Baptist Church, he told me they always get charged $50 for the sports camp. This year it's $300, and he was hoping that council could do something to help, whether it waive the fees or maybe, my thought was perhaps, without doctoring the fee schedule, adding something saying if it's a local nonprofit and there's no fees charged to participate, perhaps something can be worked out under those circumstances. But I do think there is a way to help the Baptist Church out, and I'd like to see council try to help out if they can. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you. Police chief's report.
I left you a lot this time, George.
Thanks.
Good evening, council.
Hi, Judge.
Overall, our department's doing very well. Our crime is still down 13%, our total arrests are up 9%, our drug arrests are still up 28%. Our collection of borough fines are up 37%, and other reimbursables that have come in are up 67%. 2 out of 3 of our new vehicles are up and running. As you see, they are out there, they look very nice. I think it's something we should be proud of. During our last snowstorm, a Dodge Durango was hit, and in my opinion, it was not worth trying to fix it. We took the insurance money, we purchased a 2010 Ford Crown Vic off of Lower Lakefield, which is one of their lieutenant's vehicles. It's in very good shape. With the money I spent for that, I still have money left over from the insurance money to have it painted black and have it striped so it look like a new car. In other words, costing the borough no money to have another vehicle up and running. The police department started doing their own payroll, which is something that has never been done here. It cost my budget $800 to save Mr. Bates' secretary a tremendous amount of work, but we accepted that, and it's saving the manpower on the borough side. Our SRO from our school will be going to their training in Fort Myers, Florida in June for 2 weeks. So we will have a DARE program next year. Cops Ahead program has just started the grant. And we'll be coming to you and negotiating for another police officer. The Nixle system is up and running. For those that did sign up, you received 3 or 4 from my office. Hopefully tonight I was right about the thunderstorms. I'm not sure yet, but it's a great tool that I have, and like the mayor said, it costs us absolutely no money. Overall, the police department's doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
One second, chief, I'm sorry. Darletta mentioned to me that they're starting the grant money for an SRO for next year. So I just thought that's a good thing.
Well, I was, apparently they came and negotiated with Mr. Bates about that. I did not get involved in on that yet.
Okay.
But I know the money is out there. We're waiting, for that to happen.
Okay.
That will be for my SRO.
Right. So I mean, that's a good program that's going to continue beyond.
Absolutely.
And it will incorporate mayors. Mayor, but this is our private, this which I talked about.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there's no student group up there right now that is involving themselves in prevention with regards to drinking and drugs and so forth and so on.
Yeah, that's what
So,
you want you to do that.
yeah. All right, thank you. Motion to pay the bills. May I hear the bill list, please?
Okay, general fund, $131,588.67. Street lighting fund, $6,137.27. Library fund, $3,744.31. Recreation fund, $3,864.09. Sinking fund, $55,324.31. Street fund, $989.24. State highway fund, $7,681.69. Borough's Morrisville Gates Grant, $750.69. And Borough Morrisville Jones, $891.24. For a grand total of $210,971.51.
Heard the bill list, may I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments on the bill list?
Yeah, it's a couple, actually one main one. In the very back, second from the last page, under sinking fund and capital improvement one for John's Control. There's 2 different amounts of money that were paid out. One sinking fund. What is AHU, materials and installation? I thought they had other stuff installed. What is that?
That's air handling units, materials and installation.
So that's this big thing on the side of the building? That's that your handle unit? Okay, and it's just broken down,
It's just another payment for that, part of the installation.
okay.
Is that the final payment
No, there's other payments.
One thing just real quick I'm noticing, the street sweeper has 2 more repair things in there for like, almost almost $700. What happened to it this time?
I think it went in for maintenance.
Regular maintenance?
Yes.
It's a lot for regular maintenance. Yeah, really.
That was questionable.
Page 5 on GL 1503. Yeah, there's two. Up on, and then down the bottom. Yeah, I just wondered, because it's like a lot for, you know, what,
Well, I think when it goes in for maintenance, if it needs a part or two, they
Uh-huh.
replace it once a maintenance.
so there's no wear and tear, none of those other maintenance? I mean, under warranty, there's new as that thing is?
Well, if it needs brushes, there's certain things that aren't covered under warranty.
Okay.
Tom, I have a question on the, on one thing I see, 40 hours working on the sweeper truck in the month of February.
What's that?
I looked at the one list, it shows the borough manager's report, assistant manager's report, it shows 40 hours servicing the sweeper truck
That's public works, right?
in public works. What is the 40 hours?
I guess that was the maintenance on
I appreciate the questions, but this is the kind of thing, if you had called Tom, he would have given the exact invoice to find out what's going on, instead of waiting until this evening.
Well, this came Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Today's Monday.
Well, I worked today, so I'm waiting, like me to call Tommy about this.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm asking here, so I'm here.
All right, well then, you know what, I would imagine you can check into that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just asking.
Any other questions on the bill list? We have a roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
and Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Right, next we have, under new business, 10A, motion to approve the list of 2015 fundraiser and activities for the Morrisville Fire Company.
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments on this motion? Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker, Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Next is 10B, a motion to accept the library board resignation of Holly Brown.
So moved.
Second. The first one was Fred.
Yes. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
This position, there was several years ago, several other people that had put in applications or a letter of interest, I should say, into the borough. Are they still on file? Is this going to be posted, this particular spot, up on our website and TV so people know it's available?
Yes, it will be.
Okay.
I opted not to do that until we accepted
Right.
the resignation.
Okay,
But Virginia is aware of that.
okay.
And they can look in the file, see if there's someone that was interested in the library board.
Yeah, because there
In
was,
particular.
yeah, there were several. Okay. I think the one woman moved out of town actually, but there might be a couple other ones.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I'd just like to say Holly Brown was a superb board member, very professional, very intelligent, and contributed quite a bit to the board itself. And hopefully if her work schedule changes at all in the future, she'll be able to join us again if there's an opening. Any questions or comments?
I just thank her for her service.
May I have roll call, please?
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker. Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner,
Sadly, yes.
Ms. Sherwood.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. I'm also going to ask that the next motion, 10C, to approve the library rental policy be removed at this time until further notice. Everybody's in.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Do we have to vote on that or just?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You want to table it?
We have it.
All right. The problem with tabling is you have to remember to bring it back off the table if it's 1, 2, 3 months
Well,
later.
It was tabled last time.
I'm sure
Yes.
someone will remind you.
Okay. All right, so I'm sorry, who's tabling it this time?
Mr. Johnson and Ms. Smith.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker. Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner,
Yes.
and Ms. Sherwood.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have 10E, which is it's a motion to authorize the appraisal for the MRI of the property using back Indian Valley, Indian Valley appraisal. Of course, we are not putting any money to this because we don't know.
Can I ask you something though? I'm just thinking about it. Would you want to get like several from other companies? Do we have to get several quotes?
We don't have to.
You have to pay for them, and likely a good appraisal is between $5,000 and $10,000. You probably don't want to do that. If you get one good company, they can do it.
Okay.
It's a service, right, so you can really just.
Professional service.
Professional
Okay.
service, just don't have to do more.
Right, because I know with the pool, it was like 3,500, and that was for the land and the buildings, where in this case, it's the land.
Maybe it's less. I don't know. I was giving a higher number to some people.
Yeah, I'm just saying what it was, yeah. I mean, in this case, they're not keeping the building, so it's the land. Thank you.
Okay, so, I read the motion, we have a first and a second, please.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments on the motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker. Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner,
Yes.
Ms. Sherwood.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next, we actually did 10F, right?
No, we didn't.
No.
That's Fred Kerner.
Of the, and landmark towns.
Okay, 10F, a motion to appoint Fred Kerner as the elected officer to Landmark.
Alternate elected.
Elected, yeah, you wanted to get that in there, Fred, huh? The alternate elected officer to Landmark Towns Board. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
I think that
It
was
was
Debbie.
second.
I think it was Debbie. Questions or comments on this motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker. Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner,
Yes.
Ms. Sherwood.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Next, we have 10G, it's a motion to approve the rain date for the Mayor's Labor Day picnic of September 12th.
This is a car show.
Just the
Car
cruise.
Car cruise is called.
There's a difference, I learned about this a while ago. The show actually has more stringent judging in different categories, so you win more trophies on a cruise. And you bring your car, maybe you'll win prize, you know.
Okay.
A little bit
So
more.
is there an actual motion, or is it just park drives? What's it?
Well,
Like I hear cruise, and I think they're gonna drive through town.
no, they call it a cruise. Some people call it a show, but technically it's a cruise.
The people cruise.
No, just cruise.
So, would it say the car cruise portion of your?
Yeah, anyway,
So it's a motion to approve the car cruise portion of the Mayor's Labor Day picnic for September 12th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
And Fred. Questions or comments on this? Roll call, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Chronicle?
Yes.
Mr. Parker? Mr. Parker? Mr. Sanford?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Kerner?
Yes.
And Ms. Shu?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0.
That's it, we did on the
You did, you did.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. We did, okay. So next we just have some of the announcements. Change the Arts and Events meeting is supposed to be on the 30th. Fred's not able to make that, so we're going to back that up to the 29th. So we will post that in all the necessary places. I would like to make a correction that I said at the last meeting. I said that the MEAC was responsible for the new signage along the canal with the Morrisville Yardley Rotary Club. It was actually the MEDC. As I mentioned, the SRO. Canal Festival happenings. Just a little bit of information regarding that. This is from the Landmark Towns Canal Festival. It will be June 20th. And it will be down in the area next to the theater. We have some exciting activities this year. We have the State Park Educational Rangers, Education Department Rangers are coming out to with kayaks. So you can learn about kayaks, you can test the kayaks, they'll take you down the canal on the kayaks. We do have music. The Bucks County Folk Society will be there for 3 hours. It's from 1 to 4 on June 20th. There'll be more information to follow. You can see I have the ducks up here again. They're also going to be for sale again. We have a duck decorating contest. And they are $5 a piece and 5 for 20. They'll be available at the Borough Hall, at the library, and at Anthony's Pizza. Let's see what else. We'll have the clothesline art show with the artwork from the Morrisville High School, possibly junior high to high. And we may have the dragon boats there. If anybody's familiar with the dragon boats, they're down on the Delaware. No, Schuylkill. What am I saying? They're down in Schuylkill. So we haven't heard back from them just yet. One other thing, we had opening day last week, which was enjoyed by all. And just like to mention that there was a book that the Rotary Club is selling. Anybody who's interested in it, it's The Boys at 55. It talks about the young men, the boys who are now men, and their venture into winning the World Series. And you can call Annie Thompson at 267-230-1563. Recommend the book. It was extremely touching and enlightening. 3 of us will be at a conference next week. That would be Debbie, Todd, and I, starting next weekend. And I think we do have to address the baseball part phase, but how about the First Baptist Church part phase? And we have to address that. So I don't know. Do we have a quick discussion here? I mean, if we are committed to.
Can I just say one more thing? Are we still on announcements?
Yeah, I haven't.
Yes, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Are you going to comment on the fees?
Well, no, I already did.
Well, I think we need to make a decision.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ellen.
I don't know if it has to be in form of a motion, but I think we should make a decision regarding the First Baptist Church and their desire to meet down there and not have to pay certain
It's
fees.
the annual sports camp that they do every year.
Right.
The entire week.
Can I have the floor for a second?
Bob, can you come and just give us a few more details about the day, or the week, I should say? I'd like you to hear all of what would be happening down there before we make our decision.
It's a
camp that they run, that they have different activities for the week. Again, we don't get involved in it so much, we make sure that there's enough spots there and things like that. Normally, if you read the fee schedule, they should be charged either $75 a day for the use of the area that they want to use, or if we call it a special event, like we do the carnival and other things, then it would fall into that, we could save, you know, a little bit of money.
And that would be how much then for the week?
Special,
For a
events is
special, for
higher.
a special event, what would that be?
Special event is $300 off the
$300 for
top
the
of my
week.
head, correct, yes. So,
And is it a 5-day program, do you know?
I want to say yes.
Do they have an estimate of how many students or?
That was our problem last year that we really got into it. They don't have a clue until they all show up. That is the problem. We could have 100 kids, you could have 200 kids.
And I think when I spoke with
That has
Hal,
been the problem that we've had down there.
it was about 90 last year when I spoke to Hal about it. But I will say when I went down, it was very organized. They had a lot of counselors working with them. They were broken down into groups, small groups. They all had matching T-shirts on to make sure everybody knew who they were. And they had all kinds of activities going on with the kids.
It's a very nice run program.
Yeah, they did. They ran it very, very well, and the kids seemed to really enjoy it. It was a nice thing for them. And I believe it did go for a whole week. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I could just say my personal view on it, the Baptist Church does a lot of really nice programs for the kids in town. I know that they run the Solid Rock group there, and they do a lot of fundraising to help people with that, to support themselves. This particular program that they're doing isn't charged. They do not charge a fee. It's all donations as far as them having those kids down there for whatever they need. So this is just my personal opinion, but I don't think we're charging them at all.
I agree.
You make it hard for the administration to charge fees
Right,
because it's in the resolution of the way it's supposed to be.
right,
And then everybody wants to circumvent the administration and come to you fine folks. And
right,
then
right.
we've already collected some money from other nonprofit organizations for the use of the field.
But do they,
So are we gonna be giving back everybody's money is what my question is.
well,
I think it's because they do a lot of work in town too, they're in town, they're not in town, it's for the children of Morrisville.
Plus, this particular program, there's no fee. I mean, you have a nonprofit offering something that they're not charging 1 cent for, it's all coming out of the pocket. And that was basically why Hal reached out to me. He said, you know, we've always paid $50, but now it's $300. That's a lot on top of everything else that we're paying.
At the very least, I would think they'd be able to be grandfathered in.
Everybody would be grandfathered in. I think Bob makes a good point that you could be sitting here next month waiving fees or returning fees for those who have already paid fees. We're not suggesting we bilk anybody, but I think that there has to be at least a small fee that takes care of at least, some of our cleanup, or if they need an extra porta potty, spot potty, whatever you want, John potty, whatever it's called. So
what category were they listed under last year when they had it? What did you list them under? Just field use?
Yes, yeah, that was all.
I mean,
So that was 50
But now
bucks for
if-
field?
Yeah, but if you're gonna have a week activity, it is definitely a special event, just like the carnival.
Mhm.
Is there any way they could pay a fee and then at the end of the week, if there's any extra charge that the borough has to cover, we can go back to them for that, like if they do need an extra porta potty? Would you do it that way? That way if they can try to keep their costs
I think that's too uncertain, really.
Yeah.
Too uncertain.
Yeah. When the groups come in, we show them the fee schedule and we go over, what do you wanna use and this is the way the fee schedule works out. We just try to make it uniform for all the groups so it doesn't look like that we're doing something for an outside
Right,
group.
understood.
And as was brought up earlier, you really can't have two separate fees
Right,
for residents and non-residents.
right.
So if we're gonna waive, then we have to look at an outside organization saying, well, you did for one, why aren't you doing for us?
Mhm.
That's, I mean, we just need some answers so we can explain it to them when they come into Borough Hall. is all I'm asking for.
Which is the same situation we have with the library. How do you deal with profits and non-profits?
Correct.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, may go to Sean Kilkenny. When I look at some of the fee schedules, which I've been researching some of the other municipalities, is there a difference in the borough code for us as compared to a township fee?
Absolutely.
Because
Yes.
township fees, they do that, they will waive for the residents, or they give a lesser amount for the resident because they pay taxes. So under the borough code, we can't do that because it's governed by that under the borough?
I have not been asked that question in a while, but my recollection is, yes, it's under a different authority under the second class and first class township code. I can look that up in a half hour and give you an answer by next week.
Okay, yeah, because I'd like to know that, like, because I do know I see that, so they must be governed different because it's a township, which, okay.
If I could remind everyone also that the millage rate for Lower Makefield, for instance, which is Lower Makefield, is $509,000 equals 1 mil in Lower Makefield. 59.5 equals 1 mil in Morrisville. So they get 6 times more for their money than we do. It's just difficult. I mean, I don't know how we want to word this motion. Can I have something to say, or? Yes. So, I'm sorry, what did, Bob say they paid $50 last year
Yes.
for the whole week? Yes?
I have to look it up.
Oh. I
I
need
don't know
to.
what he did. I mean, we had like 45 rentals. The park was turned into really almost a full-time summer job.
Well, let me ask you, Bob, did they tell you it was a whole week last year when you gave them the field use?
They weren't sure how many days, they weren't sure how many people, and we kind of work with them. They said they were gonna do a week.
Okay. So, and then, but at that point, though, once they said that, you said you're gonna still do it under a field use, not under,
Correct.
okay, and then you changed the classification for that this year, which then made them the higher amount.
We changed the classification because of the resolution that put in special events with a fee.
Okay. Well, there were special events in 2014 scheduled too, because I got both.
Correct.
There is in there. So now, I'm on down. Now, in the case of National Night Out then, were they classified as field use the first time, and this year they're now special?
No, they were
events?
classified as special use. What occurred, all this scrutiny, was everybody scrutinizing the fee schedule for the park. And we're trying to make it as universal as we can to categorize everybody the same way.
Because if you charge National Night Out under the special event
Correct.
fee last year,
Correct.
it wouldn't have, in there, it was $300. They weren't charged that. They were charged under a field use fee. If you look back on those fees, I believe it came out to like $125 or something like that. 150, okay. Then it was under a field use. Or this year it's being classified differently.
As a special event. Correct.
Right, so what made that difference? That's what hiked them up this year too.
Is because we reevaluated the fee schedule and looked at it, what are we charging for? Something like that is a special event. If that isn't what you want, take special event out of there and then we'll just do the field use.
The only reason I think we're continuing the conversation, I know there was mention about it at an agenda meeting, is because the church is looking for an answer. So, I mean, that's why we made that
Right,
determination this evening.
yeah. As to how we're determining everybody's fees.
Well, this is what we need, right, I mean, so you guys tell us if then we need more of a definition in the resolution, what is a special event?
Right,
Or is it just a
what
field use?
classifies it as that?
Correct.
Gotcha.
I mean, if somebody wants to come down and use it for a birthday party, then it's just for the pavilion.
Right.
If they wanna come down and do it for a carnival, they wanna do it for a 5 or 7 day church outing, or the natural plan out where you're getting hundreds of people, that should be, we felt, as a special event under the regulation of the fee schedule.
Especially if there's a large group of people that you expect.
Correct. You know, then
Just
we have
like
to organize
the
police
whole trip.
protection, we have, to, you know, there's a lot more that we have to do for a special event.
Holy Trinity also has their yearly picnic down there.
I'm sorry, who?
Holy Trinity also has a picnic down there.
I believe they've already
They
paid.
Yeah, right, they pay a full fee.
Is that just like a private picnic or a special event?
That would be, they're just using the pavilion.
Just pavilion use?
Yeah, with the
Okay.
picnic table.
So now there, once again, you have a church that's paying a fee to do, and they're nonprofit, so you're in that
Right.
same situation now.
Right, I mean, this is why if we get clarification, that would be great, you know, or relook at the fee schedule and take out what you don't feel should be there, but you put the administration, when we look at it, and we feel it should fall under this category.
Well, that's why when we did the fee schedule, we sort of, you know, bite the bullet, and if these charges can be explained, then they should be charged. And I know it's difficult, but it seems like we have more nonprofits than profits that are, you know, trying to use these facilities.
Correct.
So can we have a motion here maybe to, just so we can move on, a motion for the Baptist Church in some way, shape, or form, either to waive it, to reduce it, to, but just be prepared. I just caution everybody to be prepared for future waivers.
So you want to make a motion to reduce the cost to $50 as they requested?
Well, I think to put them under that category they were at last year at this point, since we got to define who's under what category. I mean, if you're going to make them a category last year as field use, and then you're not making a special event, and you're going to try and figure out who's getting charged.
You'd be charging the field use for 5 days, or 7 days. It'd be more expensive to charge the field use.
Right, it's cheaper to charge them special event.
Oh, so that's for 1 day use, that field use is 1 day?
Yeah, that's why we're trying to put them in the special event category.
Yeah.
Or per day? Right. They paid $50 a day last year? Last year? So
I
last year,
honestly don't know, I'll be honest.
yeah, I'd like to see that
I was
actually.
gonna say, the secretary handled most of that, but again, like I said, I got more involved in it because we were getting more and more, you know, inquiries
Yeah.
as far as how everything's going. Because the park is used,
Okay.
you know, quite frequently.
Yeah, I'd like to know what they paid, if
Eileen,
it's
can you
$50 a day.
verify?
I'm
Sorry.
pretty sure they paid $50
For the week, so that's $10 a day.
They're telling me that it's $250 more this year than it was last year.
That's exactly what Hal told me. He said it went from $50 to $300. That's why he reached out to me.
Yeah.
And I told him,
So the National Night Out, I'm only gonna go back and charge what I charged last year then.
Is that what you're
So
saying?
you can't,
I mean, if we're doing
Yep.
what we're charging last year, I'm gonna charge everybody if they had an event.
So there's
what
no
they
change
paid
in the
last
fee
year.
schedule?
Right.
Absolutely not.
Because everybody's going to want to do it.
And
No one wants to, you know,
well, since you're, let me just propose this, and, oh my God. Since there's such a mess with this fee schedule.
the mess is that everybody wants a waiver. I mean, the mess isn't how we contrived it. But go ahead, I'm sorry, Debbie.
Do we pull it back, the fee schedule, and we're using last year's, or we're staying with this year's?
No. I don't
just
think we
make
should
a
do that.
motion that I charge everybody what they paid last year, and then nobody can argue, if that's what
Well,
you
how
wanna
many
do.
years are we gonna do that?
Well,
For next year?
Well, guys, you know, I mean, that's
Step
up
up
to
to
you
the
guys.
plate and charge if you need to. I just don't understand it, I'm sorry.
Okay, when,
I'm okay with the waiver. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
You don't want to charge baseball nothing, do you? 10,000?
Alright, so if we don't have a motion, then I guess they'll pay what the fee schedule says. Alright?
I
Okay?
do have one announcement that's, speaking of car cruises, the high school, Dr. Scott reached out to me, and they are having a car cruise this Friday from 6 to 8. They're looking for people to come enjoy it. If you have an old car, I think it's $10 entry fee. They're putting a little cruise together, and it's obviously for the high school. It's a fundraiser, so I'll be there with one of my cars, and I hope to see everyone around.
activities are there? This
It's
Friday.
It's been postponed several times because of the weather, but he said even if he sees an ark being built and animals 2 by 2, we're having it this Friday, so.
Everybody will bring
6 to
their
8.
tarp, huh?
At the high school?
Yes.
I just have one announcement. I want to apologize to the EAC because I did not sign the ledger Saturday at the Riverfront cleanup. So you actually have 21 people coming.
And you were a very big help, with several people on the.
I also just have one quick announcement. The Morrisville Business Association is having a business card exchange on Thursday, April 23rd. That's this Thursday at 6 p.m. It's at the Squirrel's Nest Cafe, and our state representative Steve Sanacero will be there. Reservations are required, and I think there is a $20 fee for that, so you can just go on the website, which is morrisvillebusiness.org, for more information about that. But that is this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the Squirrel's Nest Cafe.
I also have an announcement, Saturday, May 2nd, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m.